Hungary Prime Minister Viktor Orban has arrived to the country of Georgia as locals take to the streets in protest of a disputed election. The EU says the Hungarian leader does not represent the bloc. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban arrived in Georgia on Monday as a political turmoil escalates following a disputed election that was marred by violence and accusations of vote rigging and intimidation. So you see, my fellow African brothers and sisters, even in Europe here, there are issues of election riggings and intimidations as well. And at the end of the day, these same people are preaching democracy to you, of which their democracy is not working for us Africans. Orban arrived in the capital Tbilisi 2 days after the ruling Georgian Dream Party declared that it had won the country's national election with almost 54% of the vote. The country's Central Election Commission confirmed the result. International observers, however, including the OSCE, cited numerous flaws. Opposition parties vehemently disputed the results, with President Salome vowing not to recognize the tally and insisting that it had been a Russian special operation. In turn, Orban congratulated Georgian Dream hours before the official results were published on Sunday, praising the overwhelming victory. Protesters booed Orban in Tbilisi. Mass demonstrations are currently underway in the capital, and online video appeared to show Orban being boisterously booed as he exited his hotel earlier Monday evening. So at the end of the day, you see, there's a whole lot of political tussle or political turmoil, whichever term you want to use for it, going on in this Europe. And on one side, you see that Russia, some of these countries that before belonged to the Soviet Union or that have serious ties with Russia is doing whatsoever it can to make sure that most of these countries don't become pro-EU or don't come to the idea of joining EU. And Russia deems it as an issue of national security. Russia is just trying to watch out for itself. You understand? Just like the same way North Korea don't feel very comfortable that South Korea is a strong ally of the US and all that. So at the end of the day, you see that exactly what happens in Africa happens here too. It's just that it happened, they don't propagate it or project it in the way that people will understand it, and you see that most of the average citizens are not even really interested in politics. But at the end of the day, the politicians make the rules and the policies they live by. So it's very awkward for anybody to say he's not interested in politics, because at the end of the day, these politicians make the rules that you are forced to live by. So at the end of the day, we are all involved in politics, whether you want to talk about it or whether you don't want to talk about it. You understand? So now is Georgia. The other time it was a different country that had election. They accused Russia of interference, and you can see what is happening in Ukraine. On the other side, North Korea is threatening South Korea of war if they provocate them any further. So I just hope the way the power tussle and the fight for supremacy is going on all over the world, that this does not push the world to Third World War, because it will be very, very disastrous. Because the world have advanced so far compared to when they had the Second World War. This time around, it is not going to be funny.